My guests are seated. I want to introduce to you George Ayisi, who is a government communications team member. And good morning to you, George.
Good morning.
It's good to have you here.
It's always a pleasure.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I watch you doing your...
Have I seen you this new year?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Already? No, but I see you.
You hosted me, so definitely.
And then also we have MP for Mion constituency, Abdul-Aziz Mohammed. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm blessed.
It's good to have you here.
And good to see you too.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we're going to have a very good conversation this morning. Let's begin. We're going to talk about the energy sector. And the sector is struggling over 15 billion Ghana Citi debt. This is an allegation brought by a former Deputy Minister of Energy, John Jinapo. And I'm going to read story on citinewsroom.com, and then we will have a conversation. All right, Ghana's energy sector is struggling over 15 billion Ghana Citi debt. The opposition National Democratic Congress has alleged that Ghana's energy sector is struggling due to a 15 billion Ghana Citi debt. Former Deputy Power Minister John Jinapo blamed the prevailing situation on the mismanagement of the sector by the current administration. John Jinapo made these assertions at the NDC's Policy Dialogue series on the energy sector on Wednesday, February 12th. Then I quote, he says, there are two kinds of leaders today, a visionary one, a quiet one, who thinks of Ghana's tomorrow. And we have a very loud, robust one who makes a lot of noise but does very little for us. That is what we face as a country. And like I said, the investments we, the NDC, made, if the current administration had sustained that path and continued those programs and projects, Ghana would have been moving forward rather than what we find today, he said. The Ghana Gas Company has built at a cost of over $1 billion US, despite all these savings today, is indebted to the tune of about $1 billion US. If you add what the ECG is adding to it, and you do the analysis, within 3 years in the energy sector alone, you are talking of a debt of about 15 billion. I want to come to, let's begin a conversation. I want to come to my guest, Abdul-Aziz. Help us to understand what is the breakdown of this debt that your John Jinapo is alleging. What makes up this 15 billion US Ghana Cedis?
Good morning to my colleague panelists. Good morning to our viewers and my constituents. The energy sector is a very critical sector in our national economy. It plays a very important role in driving our economy. And so at all times, we must keep an eye on the oil sector. And so when you see some of these development that does not augur well for the oil sector, the energy sector, you have every duty as a citizen, especially that we are a party in opposition, to raise the red flags so that those who matter and those who hold the national purse can do something about it. I must admit that what we are referring to is what we normally refer to as the legacy debts. What it means is that these debts we accrued right from 1992, since the inception of the Fourth Republic. And I remember that before President Mahama and the NDC left office in 2016, the total legacy debt was about some $2.4 billion US. And I remember we had been able to pay about $250 million US from ESLA. And so what President Mahama and the NDC did was to introduce ESLA as a revenue source to be able to deal comprehensively with the matter. And I remember our colleagues then in minority, then in opposition, referred to ESLA and other related taxes as nuisance taxes. And they had promised to do away with them when they get power. Interestingly, and very usual of the MPP, when God blessed them with power in 2017, what they have now done is to even increase ESLA and to extend the duration of ESLA. When we passed ESLA in 2015-2016, it had a sunset clause. It wasn't meant to last more than 3-4 years. But I can tell you on authority that Mr. Kenoforiata has come to Parliament to seek an extension of ESLA. And so when they say that they have not introduced new taxes, even when you increase the duration of a tax handle, what it means is that we have also increased tax. And so, like I said earlier, ESLA was introduced to be able to retire our legacy debt so that we don't accumulate more of, and that's why the petroleum industry was fully deregulated. You see, once you didn't accumulate new debts and you find a vehicle to be able to service the existing debt, it means that you were cleaning up your books. And so, like I said, about $250 million US dollars have been paid to the power sector players. Interestingly and worryingly, today as we speak, if you go and check December 3rd, 2019, the IPPs themselves had come out to complain, the independent power producers. Ghana Gas, we take gas and we don't pay. Netco, you do subsidy and you don't reimburse the power companies. And so the debt has moved up to 15 billion Ghana cedis. I remember President Akufo-Addo in one of his foreign trips had alleged that he came to inherit a legacy debt of 5.2 billion US dollars, when indeed that same person in his maiden sessional address to Parliament had indicated the 2.4 that he came to meet. And so we are saying that we cannot sit down and allow the energy sector to collapse. If I was to tell you some of the interventions that the government of President Mills and President Mohammed did to consolidate the gains within the energy sector, you'll be marveled. For instance, in the energy sector, power sector, the annual penetration rate was about 4 to 5%. What it meant was that every year we increase access to electricity by some 4 to 5%. Today, as we speak, the penetration rate in respect of power is around 0.4%. That is woefully inadequate, and that will not allow us to achieve our desired goal of making sure that every Ghanaian has access to electricity. Some of the laws we have today, one of the best laws that you can talk about worldwide, were passed by the government of President Mills, President Mahama. Whether you are talking of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act of 815 that was passed in 2011, or you are talking about the PIAC, the establishment of PIAC as an independent statutory body to ensure transparency and accountability in the energy sector. So a lot of reforms, a lot of legislations were passed by President Mills, President Mahama, and the NDC just to ensure that Ghanaians gets our fair share from the oil sector. Interestingly, what we are seeing today is worrying. It is my hope and belief that the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Energy should do whatever humanly possible to be able to retire some of the debts. They've just gone for $3 billion US dollars Euro bond. The indications are that they will use about 1 billion. That will translate to about some 5.5 billion Ghana cedis to retire some of those debts. Let's see how it would pan out. But for now, it is worrying that when you're in opposition, you criminalize almost everything and complain bitterly about the energy sector debts. You have come to increase it from a little under. They
will vehemently disagree with you.
No, figures don't lie. Look, I say Google. Google, 3rd December. This is not NDC or the minority.
The IPPs.
The IPPs have constantly reminded government to pay their debts, and they have even threatened in some instances to withdraw their services. Not the NDC. I can give you a plethora of news items that speaks to that.
I'll come back to you. Okay, so, George, before you make your comments, let me just read this. Nana Damwa yesterday said something, and as a rebuttal to what the NDC's allegations were. He says, you are to blame for the 500 million annual energy sector debt. So let me just quickly read that. I won't spend too much time. I'm going to do a quote from him. He says, the country's energy sector debt is very functional and we are doing well. I would have been very happy if the NDC, had mounted the platform and said that the current ministry is getting it wrong because they do not understand the current structure and explain it to the people of Ghana in a very eloquent structure that they have done. This was the strategy, and this is why it makes sense. But no such thing was done. As we speak, they claim that debts are mounting, but what they should remember that they are contributing $500 million US every year to that debt stock. Okay, so the accusation is basically that the NDC set things in motion that is contributing $500 million US to the outstanding debt. Okay, you heard what he said. You are to blame. What's your rebuttal to that?
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Let me say good morning to our viewers, the Honorable Abdul-Aziz, yourself, and your production crew. The energy sector is a very interesting and key sector in all the economic management scheme, of the nation. It's a very big, integral part of it, very, very critical sector. And so if there are challenges therein, all of us ought to be concerned. It's not for a fluke that we went through 4 years, consistent years of doomsday. We had maintained in a position that the doomsday challenge was as a result of unavailability of liquidity for them to make good the debts overhang or the debts that we had. They consistently said no. My brother, the truth is that Ameri got into this country in 2015, right? So 2015, thereafter, you had Ameri, 225 megawatts or so, and still we're having the challenges of doomsday and all that. So it then goes to buttress the point that we're saying is a result of liquid, that's cash problems. And so we fast forward to this point. They are making the argument. Do you know what? Nana Damwa is put it succinctly. That is as a result of their deeds or misdeeds, okay? They are blaming us. Now, you remember, because of the doomsday challenge, the NDC government then panicked, okay? They got a bit desperate and decided to do everything and anything to get a handle on the doomsday matter. You get it? And so they started getting individual, the IPPs in place. Almost everyone that says, I can help you with energy, they bring the people on board. And so they got so many partners therein that we didn't need most of them. And so they had to enter into agreements that we call pay or take. What it meant, my brother, is that whether you use the energy or you don't use it, you have to pay for it. Okay? As a result of those excess commitments that we had made, because we wanted a handle on the doomsday challenge. Okay, so that then, when we took over, we realized as a result of those excess requirements or excess agreements that we've entered into, we are making commitment of over 500 million United States dollars per year. Okay? Whether we use it or we don't use it. And remember, that notwithstanding, there are others that we are committed that are providing or supplying us with energy that we are to pay. Okay? Then all the other sectors within the energy enclave. We are looking at the Jubilee oil fields. Okay? Then we're talking of the TAIN, Aker, or HES, now Aker. And, ENI, all of this, and then getting new oil blocks and all that, okay? And so when you look at the investments that are going into all these sectors, and then the burden also of the power the power we are providing, this government said no. We come into power to relieve the burden on the people, okay, not to mount the burden. As always said, okay, if we are able to properly manage the energy sector, we can get some savings and bring some relief to the Ghanaian people. And you remember, well, along the line last year, or is it, yes, last year, there was a reduction in electricity tariffs. You remember that, okay? And that's what His Excellency, the Vice President, has said, that the net effect is reduction, or we've reduced energy by 5%, net effect. My brother, John Jinapor, said he disagreed initially, but I thought he didn't appreciate the maths that the Vice President had done. If you permit me, I reiterate the maths His Excellency, the Vice President, had done there. You see, we reduced electricity, commercial or business sector by 30%. You remember that. And then the private individual consumption base by 17.5%. On the average, the reduction is about 22%. Right? Then we increased as a result of demands by the energy companies and co that they are under pressure. And so they need to break even and begin to make some kind of profit and stay in business. And so then government agreed through PURC that, okay, we're going to do some increase. And then we increased by 11.17%. Okay. Then after that, we did another increase of 5.9%. So when you add the two, we are looking at about 17%. From an average reduction of 22%, we have a net reduction of 5%. That is what the situation is as of now.
Okay. Let me take you back to the issue of the debt and the 500 million, 500 million
annual that we are adding onto our debt portfolio.
The idea I understand from the happenings during the time the NDC took those decisions, right, was to make Ghana, excuse me, a power hub.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we have the power and it's excess, why are we not selling to take care of the debt? Why are we allowing the debts to accrue? Why are we not? Maybe we are, I don't know. But before you answer that, let's take a short break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And please do remember that the hashtag is Breakfast Daily, and the WhatsApp line is on your screen. Please send us messages and your comments, and we'll read them out on air. So, George, you were speaking.
Yes, the ideal situation is that you look at the cost of production, okay? You do the cost-benefit analysis and see whether if you continue to get the ones that you're talking about, the SS ones, and you produce it and you get partners, are they ready to buy it at the rate you're producing it? You get it? Then we realized the cost of production was a bit high. Okay, and again, if you look at our demand as of now, peak period is around between 2,300 megawatts to 2,700 megawatts. Peak period. Okay, now we have in excess of 5,300 or 400 megawatts, right? Okay, so it's almost double. You get it? Yes, it's good for security, energy security reasons, and you ought to have that. And so then you look at it. Now, recently we had, I think, a discussion. It's not reached at agreement level with Burkina Faso that about 100 or 150 megawatts will be exported to them. Okay, so but you look at the rate. That is it cost effective if we engage in that? You get, so that has been the reason. And then it's now that we are getting the Ghana gas people almost getting to full capacity of gas production and supply. You know, it is cheaper to generate power via the use of gas instead of crude. You get it? And so that's been the bane. And currently, what we have is in the energy mix, we have the hydro there, we have the gas, and then we have the crude. Abdul-Aziz, you know, has the double this thing. So when the gas is available, we use the gas. When it's not available, then we resort to a more expensive approach of crude. So we weigh all these things, and then we say no. If we decide to engage in that exportation, it may not be economically viable. Okay, so let's hold on to that and see what we need, and then make use of that and be able to, you know, whilst we engage other partners and see how we can bring efficiency to bear, especially when the gas production is in full swing, and we're able to use it to generate cheaper energy. Okay, so that's the modus that we're using. And so we have a problem as of now, but whether you like it or not, the take or pay is on our neck. It's an albatross on our neck. And we are committed to. And so if you have that $500 million per year, how many years now? 3 years. This is the 4th year. Okay, then the same person is coming to be crying. And then the last one before you go away. You had the BDCs about $1 billion that was paid. A legacy debt of between 2011 to 2015, okay, which were not paid. Okay, and now this government is committed to pay, and we made those payments in full. Okay, and so they are okay to be able to operate efficiently within the energy space. But they were excited. It's good, gradually. But again, if indeed this 15 billion, as they're saying, is, the issue, why are we still getting continuous energy supply? Don't you think something good is being done? Okay, people there said we were managing it efficiently, yet we were in 4 years of doom so.
Abdul-Aziz,
please.
He says that they are managing the thing well. That's why we don't have Dumso.
Well, on the issue of Dumso and whether Dumso was the creation of President Mahama and who solved Dumso, is a matter of public record. That the power crisis that we had under President Mahama was not his creation as a president. In fact, in 2007, we had Dumso in this country. I want to believe that it is a matter that we need to be very frank about. But President Mahama told us in Parliament, under the Safe Parliament, that he had accepted personal responsibility because he was the head of state. And so he wasn't engaged in the blame game. And so what he sought to do was to deal with the issue head on. In fact, before President Mills assumed power in 2009, our generation capacity as a country was less than 2,000 megawatts. By the time President Mahama left office in 2016, our generation capacity was above 4,000. My colleague has just told us that at peak time, our demand is about 2,700. What it means that we have some excess. But you must also be interested in dependable capacity. Right? Now, go and check a story on Ghana Web, President Akufo-Addo, 31st of March. And I just want to read as 2019. I am clearing Mohammed's 2.4 energy debt. We now export power to Burkina Faso, Togo, next, and blah, 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 blah. President Akufo-Addo himself, speaking in the U.S., was boasting about how Ghana is exporting power to our neighboring countries. If you don't have excess power, how do you export to your neighboring countries? You have just told us that it doesn't make economic sense to export because we produce at a higher cost. Your president says that we are exporting power to our neighboring countries. And indeed, he affirmed the 2.4 billion US dollars debt that he came to meet. Yeah. That same president was heard saying that he came to inherit a $5.2 billion a legacy debt. I mean, it's a matter of record. I can get that one for you. Now, let us be very frank with ourselves. Look, if you want to assess the health of the energy sector, in 2016, even when we had the energy crisis, okay, Gridco reported a profit of 69 million Ghana cedis. That same Gridco, in 2017, reported a loss of 118 million Ghana cedis. ECG, that reported a profit of 725 million Ghana cedis, reported a loss of 2 billion. Netco reported a profit of 1.9 million Ghana cedis in 2016 and reported a loss of 163 million in 2017. And so what I'm telling you is that, look, before you left power, the only oil field that was actually alive was Jubilee. It was under President Mills, President Mahama that we had the 10 projects and Sankofa. It's true. These are matters of record. In fact, it's not true. It is not true. Jubilee was the only. When you were speaking, I had disagreements with you, but I was quiet.
Move on.
No, George.
I am telling you that before you left power, Jubilee was the only oil field that was alive. Under President Mills, President Mahama, the 10 project and Sankofa Ginyami came on board. In fact, throughout the tenure of President Mahama, the total receipts in terms of oil revenue was 6.4 billion. President Akufo-Addo has received in 3 years over 20 billion from the oil sector, courtesy the investments that were supervised by the government of President Mahama. In fact, I remember when E&I came to invest about $7 billion. You said it was too much, and you had even alleged some corruption. Today, you are reaping where you have not sown. That the work that President Mahama and the NDC did is what you have been able to reach as much as 20 billion US dollars from. And yet, we cannot see what you do with all this revenue. Look, whether you like it or not, that when we came into power in 2009, access to electricity was around 54%. Before we left, it was 84%. In fact, we had declared that by the year 2020, Ghana should have attained the universal coverage of electricity. You have extended that to 2030. And even at the pace that you are working, you cannot be able to achieve that. And so, as for our record in the area, look, we are talking about APFA, annual budget funding amount. According to PIAC, not according to NDC or the minority, you cannot account for about $655 million. Go and check PIAC, the PIAC report for 2017 and 2018, and you will know. In fact, Jubilee, our interest in Jubilee was about 13%. And when we came to do the 10 project, Ghana's interest was increased to 15%. Sankofa Ginyami, 20%. So we kept on increasing Ghana's stakes in our oil blocks. When you assume power AGM, you came to inherit a project where Ghana's interest in that AGM deal was 49%. Okay? You reduce it to 18%. How on earth would you come and inherit a transaction where Ghana had about 49% interest? Then you reduce it to 18 with that shame? What was your motive and your interest? In fact, there was a Ghanaian company, is it Medsongai, that had about 5% interest. You came and took it off. You went to register a company just about 1 month earlier, and you gave that 5% to that company. These are pseudo companies that we know belongs to your party members, because before you came to power, a Ghanaian company, Medsongai, had 5% interest. That's local. It was in fulfillment of our local content law that was again passed in 2013. You came and you cancelled that one, and you gave it to your party person 5%, reduced Ghana's interest from 49% to 18%, and you say you are managing the sector very well. And Nana Demwa, I thank him so much. Read the story well.
For what?
He's saying that the NDC is responsible for about $500 million, not annually. Not annually.
No, he says per year.
It's annual.
I've read.
The story says per year.
I have read the story.
The finance minister has said that many times.
I'll look, and I'll come back to that.
You are an MP.
And I'll come.
It's a public record.
I am.
It's a public record.
I am very regular in the chamber, and I follow trends. I'm telling you.
It's in the budget.
I'm telling you. You are talking about take or pay.
Yes.
We down.
Yes.
We. Whose work is we? Go and read. We is take or pay. And when you talk about Dumso today, make an attempt to take away Ameri. The Ameri that we did at $510 million US that you criticize. You came and you sought to extend that $510 million contract to about $1.2 billion. President Akufo-Addo had no shame and told us, Ghanaians, that he was misled to give an executive approval. That in itself is an indictment. If indeed he was misled, who is this person who misled our president? What was the motive of that person and the president to have inflated that cost? Something we did 510, you alleged some corruption, and you were moving it from that 510 to 1.2 billion, about 800 million US dollars excess. That's what you were doing. And you say you are managing the energy sector well.
Okay.
Managing, you are forgotten.
Gentlemen, we need to make progress. So,
David. Facts, David. Facts.
we have 1 minute to respond to this.
Come on.
You just 1 minute to respond. But we need to go to the next topic.
Almost 7 minutes.
We need to go to the next topic.
Come on. This is a critical topic. Okay, no
2
problem.
minutes.
No problem. Fact of the matter: Ghana was exporting energy to Benin and Togo before long. Before long, we're all aware. You get it?
Yeah.
Even in the Doomsday crisis, we were still exporting.
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
One time, the Benin president, was pleading that we should continue to give in spite of
If
our
you don't have
challenges.
excess, how do you
get it?
export?
We were in Doomsday and we're still
If you
exporting.
don't have excess, how do you
Okay,
export?
please.
Can I go on?
Let
Can
him-
I go
let
on?
him-
We
yeah.
were in Doomsday here. We were still exporting. And then at the critical point, getting to election year, we had to go to Cote d'Ivoire and co, and then get a net borrowing of 150 megawatts to augment our supply. You get it? So let's get it. And then 2, the 10 ENI and co. All of these were drilled before they assumed office. The Jubilee Fields.
I'm not sure if
no,
that's
they were all
accurate.
part of the Jubilee Fields. Okay? Part of the Jubilee Fields.
I don't know how you do this.
No, I'm coming. Okay? They gave over 13 licenses between 2014 and 2016 under President Mahama. Not a single one of them was drilled or found oil. Between those periods. Okay? So let's look at those matters. And as we speak, as a result of new discoveries and co, we are targeting very soon to hit about 1 million barrels. Okay, to be a major oil exporting country in the sub-region and maybe Africa. Okay, so these are good programs and policies that this government has put in place in the energy sector. I agree. The 2.4 billion that was inherited in the energy sector. The president said, yes, we had that kind of debt there. The energy minister said it. Now, if you say that they are merry, the rearrangement and co, somebody has done something and is coming to Parliament. What is the purpose of Parliament?
Executive approval.
What is the purpose of Parliament, David? What is the purpose?
Executive approval.
We have appropriation.
We should have come to cabinet.
So when it comes, you look at it and then you see if there's something wrong with it. You draw the attention. There's a committee in charge of that.
Our Parliament typically will railroad any decision in the favor of the executive.
No. That's not. We've not gotten to. We've not gotten to the plenary yet. When the bill or whatever document is submitted, the committee goes into it. Okay, if it's the energy committee, finance committee, these are the 2 critical committees when it comes to the energy sector. Okay, they will look at it and dot the I's and cross all the T's before it's taken to plenary.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so then you will identify some of the
It doesn't take away the fact that you were trying to rob this country.
Fair enough.
Okay,
fair enough.
Nobody is robbing anybody.
It doesn't take the fact that you were trying to rob this country of 800 million.
Decision of
No,
the
let that fact
president.
be made.
No, but you've already
It's
made
not
it.
a
You've
fact.
made
It's
your
not a
point.
You were
fact.
seeking
It's not
to
a
rob
fact.
this country
No,
$800 million US dollars.
Thank you. Let's make progress.
Perhaps
They've done
your party.
the
adjustment and it's brought there. And so there's something wrong with it.
Someone
So
should let the president and that person is up and
he takes a decision.
George,
Then were you not in this
George,
country?
your president
Was somebody
says-
not fired?
George,
that's why he was fired.
George,
Come
That's
on,
why he was fired.
Get serious,
you
please.
guys have to
Get
that.
serious.
George,
please.
your president says,
There's
I
a
can
serious
do
platform.
all.
Yeah.
I'll do all I can to make 2020.
You're going to the next topic,
I'm on the
yeah.
next topic already. I'll do all I can to make 2020 elections peaceful and credible.
Yeah.
And he says, let me read the story here. President Nana Akufo-Addo has reiterated his commitment to superintend over a peaceful, free, and fair elections in December. He's also assuring that he will do everything within his power to, at all times, protect Ghana's democratic credentials. Speaking at a meeting with chiefs and elders from the Ziave traditional area at the Jubilee House, Nana Akufo-Addo said he will not compromise the peace of the country under any circumstance. I want to assure you that, and I quote, the government will do whatever it takes to ensure that the forthcoming campaign and elections are conducted in a good atmosphere in the country. Ghana is today the beacon of democracy on the African continent. This year, I am determined to do whatever I can to consolidate that reputation of a country of peace and stability. The election will be conducted under a good atmosphere and the results accepted by all and sundry, winners and losers alike. We are committed to ensuring a free and fair election. Now, I want your comments on this, but I want you to comment on it in a certain context. Good governance and free and fair elections is usually takes place within an atmosphere of trust across the aisle, okay, of the two most dominant players. Now, the Ayawaso West Wuogon incident that happened with the commission, many of the suggestions by the commission were not taken by the government. And yet the president is very confident that we're going to have a free and fair elections.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that's going to work.
It's definitely going to work. I have always said that if people think what happened in Ayawaso West Wuogon can be replicated across board in the main election, it's not going to happen. You know why? You see, when you have a by-election, the national machinery is brought to bear on that constituency.
Yeah.
Okay? So when the general secretary of the MPP is moving, you know the team that goes with him. Mm-hmm. When General Mosquito is moving, you know the team that goes with him. And they take over the constituency. You get it? But in the general election, across board, my brother will be busy in Mion, okay, trying to retain his seat. Okay, our executives will be busy to take it away from him. We're going to do that, right? And so that is how it is. And then across the nation, these are happening. And then the national officers then supervise and then check and monitor. Okay, they are assigned to places. And so the hitherto people that would have followed him to one constituency are not available to be used across.
They are spread across.
Okay, so that then minimizes the possibility of these incidents, okay? Because you are all minding your own business in your own small corner. Okay, so that is part of the guarantee. And then again, the general election, when the EC is properly resourced, what they need to do their job, they are given that and they go about their job the way it ought to be. Fortunately for us, we have the IPAC at the national level, the regional level, and the district level. You get it? And so there's continuous engagement with the political parties till the election time, okay? So this trust that you mentioned, you talked about, the openness and the transparency is then vivid in the process because all parties are engaged in the processes, okay? And the president is also gone on to say that, the security services should do what they are to do. Anybody who tries to foment trouble, they should deal ruthlessly with the person, okay? And that is the way to go. Yeah. The Peace Council and co, there's a document that the NDC is yet to sign, the vigilante agreement or something, right? Yeah. And the last one, David, the worry, if anybody is going to foment trouble in this election, we look at the NDC.
Why?
They are chairman of Ofusu-Ampofo. They are chairman of Ofusu-Ampofo. You heard that tape. What is it? He's in court as we speak. Back and forth, okay? The diabolic notion and programs and agenda that he's set for this nation. And then what's the director of election? I don't know whether he's still, my good brother Elvis Afriyanka also said, these are things that Ghanaians should be worried about. And I'm happy the president has directed the security services to be up and do it. Last one, the recommendation and co, definitely when a committee's work is brought, government has the right to accept and then note and then reject or disagree with some. That's exactly what we did. Okay, so the president says he's got a handle on that. He came through because we took our destiny into our hands. Okay. We are going to ensure people don't take their destiny into their hands, but the system protects them and allows them to go through free, fair, transparent election.
Abdul-Aziz,
and lose.
I'm sure you do agree with him. With all the comments he's making.
My issue are not with his comments. My issue has to do with the pretense of President Akufo-Addo. As for my brother here, what he says does not inform what would happen or would not happen. It is the conduct of President Akufo-Addo that matters most.
What has he done?
President Akufo-Addo, since he came into political limelight, has not demonstrated any.
40 years ago?
Oh, yes. I mean, you can best describe him as a serial demonstrator and nothing beyond that. I mean, his activism during the days of President Rawlings, we do appreciate that, calling for reforms, the return of the Fourth Republic.
He's done a lot that we can,
all those gains have been negated by his current actions. Let me just give you a very good example. President Mills, President Mahama have had the cause anytime they lose an election to pick a phone and congratulate the winner. President Akufo-Addo, go and check, has never done that. When he contested in 2008 and lost, 2012, he never did that. Go and check. These are matters of public record. And you are talking about a president who is on record to have made some remarks that myself and you would not even make, even as ordinary citizens. If you have a person seeking to lead this country who says that all die be die.
Sorry, say that again. Say that myself and you
would not make such reckless statements that all die be die. All die be die. And so even if you die in the course of political violence, yes.
But we know that on political platforms, in Ghana, all kinds of very boisterous things are said.
You see, you cannot compare a person seeking to lead our country, Ghana, to some serial caller out there. Even as an MP, we have some level of responsibility that we cannot share.
But the Ghanaian people trusted him.
Oh, but it doesn't take away the fact that those comments were made.
Okay, fair enough.
That all die, we die. And so whether you die, and he was speaking to party foot soldiers. And so he was encouraging them to go out, even if they die in the course of political violence. It didn't matter. Dying in the course of political violence and dying in church to President Akufo-Addo doesn't make any difference. All die, be die. This man is, it still defines his person and character.
All right, okay.
You see, no, please,
we barely have 2 minutes.
I beg you, I've just started.
We have to end the show.
All those words all those words define his person and character. If you have a president who says that I must win an election at all costs, if you have a president who says that Etiwa will show them something small, and you know what happened in Etiwa? If you have a president who supervised what we saw in Ayawasu, he set up a committee, and when they came with the report, he himself rejected all the recommendations.
You supervised equity.
And look, you just made a point that I need to correct you about. That the NDC refusing to sign onto a document. We are being responsible. When the Peace Council assigns responsibilities to the Electoral Commission and the security agencies, we expect them to also append their signature. Because we are committed. We will. Why not? Once they also sign, we would. We would. We are committed to the process. But I think that on this issue, I mean, you have not been very fair to me.
You have just on energy.
Oh, come on. We are committed to dealing with the issue of party militia groups. I mean, President Mahama will not go and bring South Africans to come and train people in weapon handling. We won't do that. We won't say all that be die.
Okay.
And indeed, we are committed to sustaining our democracy in this country.
Of course.
Unlike President Akufo-Addo, who is only interested in the political dividends. He's only interested in the political dividends.
Look at the future generation he's taking care of.
When you have Asari, say that the NDC is a threat to our democracy, and yet that person would conduct elections.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I've been speaking with the MP of Mion constituency, Abdul-Aziz, and then also who is of the NDC, of course, and then also to George Ayisi, who's a government communication team member. All right. Thank you very much for watching this segment of the show.
Hi there. I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share with all of your friends. This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.